does programs and services for older adults.
Now you're talking about the Fed.
The federal. And it was actually due to be reauthorized last year. The Senate has put forth a piece of legislation to reauthorize the Older Americans Act. There is nothing even started in the House of Representatives. Nothing. And so, you know, the only way money is appropriated for our meal programs, for our home care programs, for transportation, for legal services for the elderly. And they just passed that new legislation about the Elder Justice Act. Well, they passed it, but there's no money appropriated.
Oh, that's great, yeah.
And so authorizing the Older Americans Act and appropriating funds for these things is very, very important. And you know, as they're talking about cuts to the federal government, the biggest cut they're talking about is the non-defense spending, undesignated non-defense.
And it falls very heavily on the seniors.
Well, and that's where our funding is. It's in that non-mandated, non-defense spending. So you have a big voice. You know, you're almost a
go for it.
25% of the public in the United States is older adults, and I'll tell you the statistics for those people who vote in our country, most of them are older adults.
And they always vote. And
they always vote.
About time they got together and voted seriously.
You have a very big voice. And
that signals that it's leak time. I love them. I love them. Okay, Marianne, thank you. You sure you don't want one?
No, no.
Oh, okay, all right.
Hey, I want to tell you about Picnic, because everybody is...
Is this a big one in Mayville, or what?
This is our annual picnic, our senior picnic. It's coming up on August...
Midway.
Yep, at Midway Park, August 10th. This is that chicken barbecue and bingo and lots of prizes and giveaways. It's always a fabulous event. Well, last year we had over 550 people join us, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger.
You said you could only handle 500 last time.
Well, we keep trying to handle more and more, so we hope people will join us.
Seniors are skinnier because they're not getting enough to eat, because Congress refuses to give them a decent COLA, which is why they're getting 43 cents on a dollar now from 10 years ago. Caller, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to your guest. I have two questions for Marianne, please.
Sure.
Is there a cost for the program about the woman that went over the Niagara Falls? And who do we contact now as our congressman? Is it still Higgins or Reed?
Well, officially, let's go. First of all, there is no cost to the performance, but we are asking for a $1 donation to cover refreshments, and whatever's left over from that we will put in the Mac McCoy Fund, which is growing very nicely. The other question that you have about our congressman is until the election in September, Congressman Higgins is still our representative. However, as these things go, he's starting to refer things to Tom Reed, who will be our new representative if reelected. I did meet with Tom Reed in Washington or his staff, and he's very very open to meeting with people from Chautauqua County. So I would, you know, even though it's been redistricted and he hasn't been reelected yet, I would encourage people to contact his office.
Is anybody running against Reed?
I don't know that.
Huh.
I don't
hear of it, but usually there's always competition for a congressional seat.
Yeah, and you know, as much as Brian Higgins was a great representative for us, you know, I'm wondering, and I'm sure other people are too, is, you know, we really have more in common with our, you know, Allegheny and Cat County, Steuben. Kind of that southern tier. Yeah. It's kind of like going back to Amo Houghton's district.
Right. And the trouble with being the tail that wags it, and we were nothing. When we were clumped in with Buffalo, What is, I don't know, population's about 139,000. Buffalo is
It's the
close to
second biggest city in the
yes,
state, and,
the
you know,
Queen City, it's 200, almost 2 million people or something like that, huge. We were dead in the water. We had no representation.
Well,
And,
I think Congressman Higgins was down here quite a bit, but it's hard to.
never came on senior report after he got elected the first time. He was here before. And Emma
But, you
Holden
know,
is here regularly.
I think the needs of a very big city do overshadow the
Well,
less populated
nothing.
rural areas.
Nothing.
And so, you know,
Okay,
and that's
I'm-
just my personal opinion.
Okay, I'm glad we're back where we belong at least. You know who put us in with Buffalo? Cheney. He used some of his political clout to do that. We've got a couple of calls.
Okay.
Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
I don't know how redistricting happens.
Good morning.
What's
Good
up?
morning.
What's up?
Not too much. First off, I want to say what a wonderful day it looks like it's going to be, and the next week looks, whoa, do we not live in the best part of the country?
Well, I just got my flowers, and I'll tell you, I'm ready to roll here.
All right. I do have a question for your guest.
Yeah, sure.
I know we're, kind of a small area, but does Chautauqua County have any plans to make up like a political block that we would use to put in ideas and so forth for congressmen for our area, not for, bigger areas and so forth?
Not really sure what your question is.
A PAC, like a political PAC, but for this area rather than including us in the more citrified areas.
Well, that's kind of what's happened in the redistricting is now we're going to be with, it's going to be Chautauqua, Cattaraugus,
Right.
all the way to Ithaca.
Well, my question is, since we're going to be smaller, and so, will we have any chance of using political clout, and are we going to form a PAC like to lobby our congressmen and so forth?
How about lobbying our county legislature?
As a group of senior citizens rather than one person writing in and saying, I think we should?
That's not really
I
your
try
business.
to, yeah, it's not, I'm
Yeah.
not really, I try to be apolitical and really
Right.
just represent the wishes of all the seniors.
Right.
And I meet with Congress, but I encourage all the seniors, whether it's a senior group, whether it's just individuals. There's not enough people who call and talk to their whether it's their state, local, or federal representatives.
Well, if
So
you call
how-
your federal, you're not going to talk to your representative.
Well, but you're talking to the people who talk to them. And
Well,
I'll
that's
tell you,
true.
is the more you talk with them, it amazes me that they're not hearing from their constituents, and they really want to. And I was very gratified last year that the United Senior Council had a legislative day and invited a lot of legislators. I think we need to do that more and more often because, as I've told people, I can tell the legislature, I can tell whether it's our state, local, or federal representatives what I think you need, but it makes more impact if they hear directly from seniors.
Well, this is what I mean.
And-
If we all join together as a PAC, as a group, and lobby and then we represent 1,000 people rather than one person, I'm thinking we would have more impact as a group to
Definitely,
lobby
and I think
for
AARP.
senior rights and senior
AARP, insurance
care.
company. This is the guy right here.
But that's not the mission of the Office for the Aging, so I wouldn't be spearheading that. It would be better as a grassroots organization. Actually, there's the senior, it's called Senior Action.
Right.
There's a statewide senior action that's their
And
mission.
Citizen Action, which does include them.
Actually, Mike Burgess, who is the former director of the State Office for the Aging, is very involved with them. And I think Jim Kurtz here locally is our representative to statewide senior action.
And how would we get hold of Jim Kurtz?
If you call my office, I'll connect you with
All right.
Statewide Senior Action or Jim Kurtz, or come to the United Senior Council. because that's part of their mission, is to represent seniors. So Jim Kurtz actually acts as the representative from the United Senior Council.
Yeah, where do they meet? They move around, don't they?
They move around. They move.
United Senior Council guys.
They try to have representatives from each senior club in the council.
Mr. Powers, that might be an interesting guest to have in the future if you could arrange it.
Yeah.
Definitely. You know, I certainly help to do those things. If seniors tell me they want, you know, a certain guest to come and talk with them, you know, that's part of my role, is to help facilitate.
Well,
Thank you very much.
I'm eating. I have to eat some garlic. Cold on color.
Okay.
Actually, those are leeks, and they're wonderful, delicious. Well, thank you for your call.
Thank you.
I hope you got some information
Yes,
of
I
use.
did, actually.
Do
Mr.
remember the
Kurtz.
Senior Council here in Chautauqua County. It's made up of leaders from all the senior clubs and anybody else who wants to pitch in and help. And they have a strong legislative arm. And you'd mentioned them before. They are just a terrific group.
Right, and you know, it's one way that we get all the information out to the senior clubs. And actually, I've been asking them to designate, and it doesn't have to be their president or vice president, but designate one person in your senior group to be our electronic contact. And that way we can do email blasts to all the clubs about things that come across, you know, and need some, you know, the seniors need to know about.
Well, thank you very much. You've been most informative and given me a couple ideas.
Well, thank you,
Good.
caller.
Bye-bye.
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 Yeah, there are a lot of interesting groups in Chautauqua County. All the senior clubs, the towns, the villages, the churches, even the Steger apartments. I mean, they have groups that gather together, and they share a lot in common. Seniors do, and they vote, as you said. The important thing is they do vote, and unfortunately, we are not getting too good a response from most of our politicians, state, local, legislature, and federal. They are trimming the easiest people to trim, they think. There's going to be a backlash here. Chautauqua County is trimming a lot from your budget. I know that they already have, and hopefully that trailer that they're moving down to the park that I hear about all the time, with Office for the Aging on it on one door, and then on the other door they have that,
The veterans?
the veterans, what do they call them, the Veterans Association or whatever.
Well, I'll tell you, I have to say though, you know, I'm very proud of the staff at the Office for the Aging. We have been working very hard over the last 5 years to try to make the Office for the Aging as fiscally independent as possible. And so we've been working on a lot of initiatives to offer private pay services that use the buying power of the county, but also generate some funding to help people who can't afford certain services. Our personal emergency response program is that.
Yeah, it's cheap, right? It's cheaper than...
Well, we offer it at $25,
And it's
which you
normally
can't get. It's normally $29 to $39 a month. And
This is the little I help, I've fallen down, I
Right,
can't get up, and
right.
you just press the button, and the
And,
burglars come into your house, you hit the button, and they run away.
Exactly. So we're trying to develop other things. We've started that Mac McCoy Fund, which is totally endowed
Who
now.
is Mac McCoy?
Mac McCoy was one of my predecessors. He was the Office for the Aging Director for many, many years. He also went on to work for the State Office for the Aging and continued to be a senior advocate until his death. I think it was in 2008.
Right, he had a bad heart, unfortunately. He was waiting
yes.
for a transplant, as a matter of
And,
fact, and then poof, out it went.
you know-
he was young, he was a nice guy, a terrific guy.
He had some serious health problems that I think led to, you know, his death.
Yeah.
But a great guy, continued to be an advocate for seniors even after leaving the Office for the Aging.
He came on the Senior Report regularly.
Yeah, and he tried to start a fund at the Community Foundation, and that actually gave me this idea that we needed to develop an endowment fund, and that would keep giving back to seniors. And so that's exactly what we've done, is that we got the county legislature. So this is money, goes into a fund, it grows, it can only serve seniors.
I think I'd like to donate. How do you do it? How do you donate? You give you the money or what?
No, we like it to send, you can send a tax-deductible donation to the Chautauqua Region Community Foundation and just designate OFA or Mac McCoy Fund. And you can actually go online. I think they have an online giving, and it's called, you go to Chautauqua Region Community Foundation, and I think you click on Be a Star. And, and recently, actually last week, we continued to fundraise even though we